Bitcoin is now working on its 7th green daily candle in a row. This week should be an absolutely massive week with FOMC. If Bitcoin can hold above a key level, it does mean that we want to move higher. And in today's video, we'll be talking about what that level is. If you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Without further ado, let's jump right into the video. It's very clear to me that if Bitcoin holds above the tariff capitulation lows on a daily candle closing basis, it means that we want to go ahead and move higher. Right now, you can see that we're currently above the local highs of the range. If you've been watching the channel over the past few weeks, I've been talking about the fact that even with this pump, Bitcoin will likely move lower. Now, nothing has changed from that perspective. I am still shorting Bitcoin. I'm also still shorting Ethereum. That position is currently sitting at a loss, but right now, Bitcoin is showing signs of strength. This is pretty insane price action. Every single time we seem to get rejected from key levels, we get bought up immediately. On Friday, we had a massive wick to the upside above this anchored VWAP, which we highlighted several times on the channel. Now, as you know, I do think we will be headed lower, but the real question is, when will that occur? Because right now, as we approach the weekly close, Bitcoin is looking to close above the local highs of this range, which is very, very significant. Now, the key level that I'm really looking at here, if we start getting closes here and above the anchored VWAP, would be the tariff capitulation lows. If Bitcoin starts getting above this level and it ends up being an SFP, I would consider adding to my existing Bitcoin short, which, to remind you, is from $97,000, because my short from last week, I managed to secure some profits, but then got stopped out at break even. This is the only level that I would really consider adding to that massive short. And of course, if we start getting acceptance above that level, then I would simply not add to my existing position. Right now, though, if you've been watching the channel, you know that I've constantly said that I don't think 60K is the bottom. I still stand firm on that. But this most recent price action is suggesting strength for Bitcoin and therefore strength across the rest of the crypto market. You can see here that Ethereum is now looking to close above its existing range. And one of my trades would be invalidated if we start to get daily closes above this level for Ethereum as well. So we have to see how the weekly close comes in, which is in approximately 1 hour from now, along with the daily close. 7 daily candle closes in a row. A lot of times it looked like we were getting rejected, but at this point in time, we just have to see what the outcome is of this weekly candle close. And I want to remind you what the previous weekly candle was. It looked like a classic sweep. And this time around, we almost managed to sweep the top of that candle. I'm telling you, please be careful. I don't think that this is going to be a parabolic move for Bitcoin, even though this is starting to look like a very strong weekly candle. In my opinion, of course, I do believe that Bitcoin is likely to get another rejection. Whether we tap into this anchored VWAP or whether we tap into these tariff capitulation lows remains to be seen, but I just want to keep you updated as to how I am personally navigating this market. If you know me, I am a swing trader, so I'm happy to look to add to my existing position right around here after having shorted Bitcoin at around $97,000. I'll keep you updated as that develops. As always, if you want to know how I am personally trading the market, when I enter my trades before I come on my YouTube channel, you do have the first link in my description down below. If you DM me the keyword CBM on Telegram, I'd be more than happy to onboard you into my private group. And of course, the way you access this is by signing up with one of my affiliate exchange links, and you start trading on there as you'd normally do. Now let's get back to the charts. So right now, Bitcoin is trying to push up here, and we do have a very, very important week ahead because we will be getting the February pending home sales data on Tuesday, but on Wednesday, we have not only PPI inflation data, but FOMC. And I will make sure to cover that on a live stream. So make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on that post notification bell so you don't miss out. Now, we also have on Thursday the Philly Fed Manufacturing Index along with the January new home sales data. We do have that massive week ahead. And the next thing I want to bring to your attention is that the funding is going a little bit positive here. So on this move up for Bitcoin, which I will not argue looks pretty solid here, we are seeing a couple of longs starting to pile in. We need volume to pick up if Bitcoin is to get any kind of continuation to the upside. Now, something I need to address here. Some of you have been asking me, what happens if Bitcoin just absolutely takes off? Now, I've been very vocal about this, but for the newcomers on the channel, I still hold Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin starts skyrocketing from here, for whatever reason, I stand to benefit from the upside. That's how you want to position yourself in this market. So, although I do believe that we will be experiencing a rejection and Bitcoin will likely find its way back below $60,000, I still stand to benefit if we get that upside because it's just a smart thing to do. I never sell the entirety of my Bitcoin stack. And if you've been tuning into the channel, we discussed the fact that most of my Bitcoin stack was actually accumulated sub $30,000 in the previous bear market, and I will try to accumulate near the bear market lows once more and guide you through it. Next thing I wanted to cover, the stock market. We talked about this last week. We've been talking about this over the past few weeks, but we are getting acceptance below the bull market support band. So stocks are down. Precious metals are somewhat down. Meanwhile, Bitcoin is pumping. What is going on? Is this the final rotation that everyone has been talking about? Not so fast. I don't think so. You have to understand that the purpose of my channel is to give you a realistic view of the market. I am not a perma bear. I am not a perma bull. I just want to tell you what I think could be happening next. And although this candle is starting to look pretty solid for Bitcoin on a weekly candle closing basis, we have still not closed above last week's candle where we wicked to around $74,000. So a reversal is still indeed possible. I'm just sharing with you what I personally think could be happening next. I want to take you through the liquidation map. If I refresh this page, you'll notice that on the one-day time frame, there is significantly more cumulative long liquidation leverage in the market compared to cumulative short liquidation leverage in the market. On the 7-day time frame, same exact story. On the 30-day time frame, same exact story. So this is showing us that longs are starting to get confident and piling into this market. And because, as we've discussed previously, higher time frame bias is still down because we are indeed in a bear market, I do think that unfortunately these longs will get flushed out. But it goes without saying, if you manage to long from around these levels, right at this anchored VWAP and this tariff capitulation low is an excellent level to actually take profits off of longs. Now, of course, I'm just telling you what I would do if I was currently in a Bitcoin long. Next thing I wanted to show you here, there should be some sort of huge announcement with Michael Saylor tomorrow. Supposedly they're going to be buying 30 to 35,000 Bitcoins, which would be absolutely insane, but you never know. He came out and said, stretch the orange dots, which is referring to his stretch product that we covered in my previous video. Next thing I wanted to bring to your attention, prior to the Iran war, US oil companies were actually generating around $62 billion in annual free cash flow with oil prices at $55 a barrel. Now, with oil prices at over $100 per barrel, US oil companies are expected to generate $163 billion in annual free cash flow if current prices are sustained. In other words, US oil giants are set to rake in an additional $100 billion in free cash flow per year if oil prices remain elevated. And so far from what we've seen, it does seem like oil prices can remain elevated. So at this point in time, we also have Jim Cramer coming out and saying that the market is oversold and he is indeed buying. This is usually a warning sign, but let's see how the price action develops. He could also simply be referring to stocks where we've confirmed below our bull market support band. And the last thing I just wanted to cover here, taking a look at the Bitcoin price action once more, you can see that on this 4-hour chart, we are accepting above the local highs. If we continue to get acceptance above these levels, it would look strong for Bitcoin to go ahead and target these tariff capitulation lows, pardon my drawing, and then we'll have to assess how the price action develops. This is very, very interesting price action for Bitcoin, but remember, bear markets tend to shake out both sides of the market, and I am still expecting Bitcoin to move lower despite the current bullishness. This isn't your call to go max short. I've been holding my short for much, much higher, but I'm just trying to tell you that it's important to exercise a little bit of caution getting overly bullish. My upside exposure for Bitcoin remains in spot. And that sums up today's quick video. It should be a very interesting week ahead with FOMC and Bitcoin slowly moving higher into the weekly close. Can we confirm above those tariff capitulation lows? Because if we start to get multiple daily candle closes above that level, it would suggest that Bitcoin can go as high as $80,000. But of course, let's see how the price action develops. I'll keep you updated as it pertains to my trades. If you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. As always, I have my bluff and leverage trading tutorial right here, and I'll see you in the next video.